Click, click, boom. What's going on, faithfuls? The Nothing But Niners crew is back, and we're here to bring you guys the real talk, the real get down with the get down, all right? The 49ers are about to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm in enemy territory, so let me be quiet. They out here. They all around me. They lurking, you know? But before we get to all that, I want to talk to my guy, Nick, man. Nick, listen, man. You did a show with a guest. The guest came on our show. Y'all did the quid pro quo, the tat for tat, scratch my back, you scratch yours and all that. Bro, you don't really believe all that nonsense that you were saying when he was here, do you? Like, what's up?
Look, man, I still have the Niners winning this game, right? So, we talked about it. And, I think you're on a little bit more worried side than I am. And I tried to back up to the reasons as to why I'm not so worried. Look, this team is depleted with injuries, right? Both sides of the football, offensively, defensively. We're starting another backup quarterback in another game. Obviously, last week, it was the Giants, and we talked about that. But look, I think the NFL football team of the New York Giants is actually a little more well-rounded than what we're going up against this week in the Eagles. Offensively, obviously they were down receivers. Secondly, it's on the opposite side of the football this week, right? Look, what do you have to do to win football games? You got to score points. And they're down receivers, right? So that benefits us whether we're playing a third or fourth string corners, which I have all the confidence in Jason Verrett this weekend. Right now, Dante Johnson, I'm still a little bit on the edge about. But look, you heard Ryan. Ryan said they had one receiver at practice this week.
I still can't believe that. That sounds crazy to me. But
one receiver, right? So look, offensively, man, Carson Wentz gives up the football. And we're going to talk about that, and we're going to dig into those things. But look, man, big shout out to Ryan B. Coming on and talking some football with us, man. Great guy. Make sure you guys go over there and like his channel, Philly Take with RB. And show them that love, guys. So we can, like Mike said earlier, we can go over there and watch shows on opposing players. We're playing the whole NFC East this year. So there's guys that they're playing and see what their takes are on those as well. So Mike, man, look, I told you, I'm not really that worried about this game. And I know you are a little bit because of injuries and because of not just because of injuries, but because of the fact that this is a desperate need of a win for this Philadelphia Eagles team.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You hit the nail on the head. Desperation is what scares me. It's not the teams, not the rosters, not the coach, any of that. It's the desperation, man. I've seen teams like the Falcons play inspired for a head coach, knowing that they're going up against superior teams like the 49ers, and they just squeak one out. I mean, one play, Julio Jones, you know who it's going to, and they still manage to win it, right? They might not have that Julio Jones player, but let me tell you, when the game was on the line last week, Carson Wentz put his body on the line and ran that touchdown and to send them into overtime. So they don't have the Julio Jones, but they have some players over there. This is a former candidate for NFL MVP. I don't think he won it that year, but he was a front runner before that injury. You know what I'm saying? So listen, we're going to rewind a little bit. We're going to take it back. We're going to take a deep breath. We're going to take a step back, and let's go through these formalities really quick, okay? Guys, if you would like our show, if this is your first time here on the YouTube page, we want to thank you guys. We truly, truly appreciate you. I don't just say that as a formality. I really appreciate everybody who takes their time to watch our show. So thank you. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, but more importantly, turn on your notifications. That way you know exactly when we're going live. It won't be the smoky knoll like what you're seeing here, but you'll know exactly when we're going live, okay? Halftime shows, breaking news, etc. Make sure you have the notifications turned on. Give us a follow on a couple of our social media platforms. We have Twitter and Snapchat. That is nothing but the number 9 ERS, so nothing but 9 ERS. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and even the website. It is nothing but Niners, spelled all the way out. The website is www.nothingbutniners, all spelled out. Give us a follow on any of those platforms. Go to the website. They have it all there. And by the way, man, Nick was rocking some fresh gear on the last show. Shirt, hat, all of that, man. Nick had it all in the tuck over there. If you guys are looking for some of that, you want to go straight to the source, shop NB9ERS.com. That's shopNB9ers.com. Go there, browse through it all. You want to grill? Listen, I'm a guy, I like to grill in the winter. You guys can call me weird all you want. The colder it is, the more I want to be outside around the fire. All right. If I can light my grill, yeah, that's right. I'm a charcoal guy, not a gas guy. Nick, I'm going to ask you about that in a second. But I like to light up the charcoal grill, stand around the fire, get nice and warm, even when it's snowing. Put the hoodie on. Oh man, that's my kind of weather. We have aprons. You guys want to grill in the middle of the winter and still rep for your team? Because listen, football's a winter sport, man. Let's be honest, right? There's no stopping football in the winter. Rep it. Go over there, order those aprons from shopnb9ers.com. All right, I'm going to shut up. Thank you guys for checking this out. That's it now. We can get back to this. But, Nick, like I said, I'm going to ask you, bro, do you like the grill?
I love the grill. That's pretty much all I do year round. And, I was kind of spoiled in Florida because I could do it all year round.
Right.
But here, man, you see me in hunting boots that are pulled up to my knees. If it's, 2 foot of snow on the ground, I'm still trying to grill because I just love grilled food. So I don't use the charcoal, though. I do use propane.
You're a gas guy.
Only because of the fact that, look, man, when you live in the state of Florida, you are deprived of gas cooking out there. A lot of it's electric cooking. And I don't like, I've grew up on gas cooking. So, you're so much more used to gas cooking than you are electric. And then charcoal. Look, charcoal food is great. Don't get me wrong. It's just a matter of, just an extra step as well. Between propane, it's a lot easier to, your propane lasts a lot longer than your charcoal does. So therefore, for the beneficial factor of it, I love to grill, and it has to be propane. So
that's an I never stopped to compare like a flame from propane versus electric. To me, it was like gas or charcoal. Like that was it. Electric never even set in. And I have seen outdoor electric grills. Now you got to have some decent coin to do that, because I've seen them like built in on the patio, the hard, bricked in grills on the outside with the electric. I've seen them. It's rare, but I've seen them. Is that a thing in Florida, like the electric grills outside?
Yeah. So even just electric grills outside, on their lanais and things like that. And even just in household, there's not a lot of gas stuff. It's a lot of electric heat. It's a lot of, or you'll have gas heat, but you'll have electric cooking. And you just can't change it over because of the way the houses are set up. So, yeah, so it's interesting. So it's the same as here, here in the north end of the state, north and northeast part of the United States, you have basements. Whereas in the South, you don't really have basements. So, it's just preference, I guess, for Southern versus Northern. But yeah, man, I definitely grilled a lot more. Whether it be, I do have a smoker, which I do a lot of as well. But yeah, I was lucky enough to grill a lot over there in Florida because of the fact that, and I got to do it on gas because I don't like electric cooking. There's just a different taste of electric cooking compared to propane grill fire.
I learned something new today, man. This is the first time I've ever had that comparison, so I appreciate it. Now, if the crickets are getting on people's nerves, Nick, unfortunately, you're going to have to mute me. Let's let everybody know a little bit of what's going on. Mike is not ignoring anyone in the comments. I'm not trying to be rude and not mute myself or anything like that. I'm outside. I have a spotlight on me. I'm using the rear-facing camera, so I can't see the screen. I can't mute or any of that stuff. So if things are getting a little loud, you guys get to blame Nick tonight. I'm putting all the pressure on my guy, Nick. The comments, everything. It's all on him, and he's going to hold us down. I have the utmost faith and respect for him in that situation, so I know he can handle it. But
look, Philly take with RBs in here. Fly, Eagles, fly with a bunch of Eagles comments. So big shout out to Ryan again. But look, Mike, this brings me back right here, man. This is the crew, that it was just me and you. And now obviously we have a lot of great guys that come on the show. But this takes me back a little bit, man. It was just me and you. So, this is interesting. So Debbie Ryan put up a comment here. She said, $10 donation. We appreciate you, Miss Debbie. Love you with everything that we have. She says, happy Friday, faithful. What's up, Mike and Nick? Hey, Nick, I'm going to need a picture evidence of that jersey swap because I believe he's going to lose. Look, I'm going to be live. Look, he's going to be
but what
live.
about him? She's asking about him. She wants to know about him.
So, I'll have to have him come on our show in that Niners jersey. I got to. So
Nope. You want him on his show in the night. So
yeah, that too. But I'm saying for our fans to see. And I'll go on his show.
He's in the chat. He's in the chat, right?
Yeah.
All right. So RB, you got to let us know. Does he do overreaction shows, or shows following the game like how we do?
I believe so.
All right, because if he does, that's when I want to see it. You guys are gonna have to find each other at like the third or fourth quarter and do a jersey. Like Nick, I don't know how you're gonna pull it off, man. I'm putting the pressure on you,
Well,
bro.
I said our show's on Tuesday, so we can meet up sometime Monday,
Okay.
and then let him do his show, and he'll have to wear one of those, and then obviously I'll wear an Eagles jersey if that happens. A lot of people are like, "No, Nick, don't do it, don't do it," because
Yeah, I might have to ban you,
it's a
bro.
jinx, right? It's a jinx. So, look, man,
Oh my god.
I'll do it though. I'll do it because I'm confident we're going to win this football game.
All right, so let's go ahead and break this down. Like I said, I was playing nice guy. I was playing devil's advocate a lot of the last show, and a lot of the current concerns that I expressed are sincere, but it doesn't mean that I'm worried about those concerns. A concern is something that could happen, right? You're driving, you got a brand new car, you're still concerned about a flat tire. That's why you have AAA. Doesn't mean that you think it's going to happen. You understand what I'm saying? So yes, I expressed a lot of concerns. Doesn't necessarily mean that I think it's going to happen. So Nick, I'm going to give you the floor first, and let's talk about some things that we actually think could happen in this game, not necessarily just concerns. I think we've done enough shows with the concerns concerning, as far as this Eagles 49ers matchup goes. But let's talk about some things that we really do think could happen. Let's be real. Let's be honest with people on this show here.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that could happen, right? Look, how well is Dante Johnson going to play, right?
Can you guys see my shadow?
Yeah, that's your shadow on the house. You're a giant. You're like Eric Armstead right now. No, look, I mean, a lot of things, a lot of things could happen in this game, right? And even though they have a depleted wide receiver core, I'm still worried a little bit about Dante Johnson, right? Because look, Akello's out, Richard Sherman's out, Emmanuel Mosley's out, K'Wan Williams is questionable with a hip injury. Who's going to step in and take that, nickel situation? Now we know that
Taylor
is a possibility of being called up. He did take more snaps at corner, at nickel corner in camp due to K'Wan Williams being hurt and out. But the question was asked today to Kyle Shanahan, can he play outside if need be? And he says that's one of the things that we liked about Taylor is that, yes, he can play both, but yes, he focused more on the corner, nickel corner spot this week or this camp in the summer because of the fact that K'Wan Williams was hurt. But he is a guy who could step up and play on the outside, as well as a guy like Tarvarius Moore, right, is a guy that can play both safety and corner. If you're really getting torched at corner, you have the option of moving Jimmy Ward up to corner and playing Tarvarius Moore at the center position at safety, right? I don't think that happens, but it's still a possibility, right? If you get into a dire need or a dire situation where Dante Johnson is playing completely bad or, horrible, you have those options of Tarvarius Moore going to play safety or corner, or Jimmy Ward playing corner and Tarvarius Moore playing safety, right? So this is the thing that I was talking about, and this team has a lot of depth, right?
Yeah.
Now, how well does this team and this depth put their mouth where, whatever you want to say, put their shoes,
money where their mouth is?
Yeah, put their money where their mouth is, whatever you want to say. But like I said on the show earlier, man, the reason that I'm so confident in this is because A, the coaches, right? The coaches that we have, B, the depth that we have who has played in these positions before and have succeeded. Obviously, we got a couple new guys, right? So Ziggy Ansah, Deion Jordan, how well are they going to play? DJ Jones is coming back off injury still. Javon Kinlaw is a rookie, right? So these are guys that – what's that?
Kerry Hyder, yeah.
Yeah, Kerry Hyder, right? So you look at these guys, and they're different from last year, right? But they are also guys who are first-round talent in most of them, can play and be that filling guy. And they don't need to be that specific guy, right? So that's where I think that, adversity for this team, I feel like this team can overcome adversity better than what Philadelphia can. And the reason I say that is because, A, it doesn't matter who we're matched up against. The confidence level is there between these guys. They play for each other. They don't play individually. And when you give these guys defensively, which is where we're really hurting, obviously Nick Bosa, D Ford, those are two intricate pieces to this defense and big pieces. But you go and you look at the way the 49ers play, and you go and you sit back and say, okay, well, this isn't our first rodeo playing with injuries. And I understand that it's a must-win game for the Philadelphia Eagles, just like I was saying last week, as in it was a must-win game for the 49ers, right? Because each game is crucial. And when you play in the NFC East, they could lose this game and still be in good position as to where the Niners lose, and it's harder for them to come out of the hole than it would be for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Shanahan was talking about how important every game in the league is, right? And he said, look, guys, we went 8-0 to start our season, and it still came down to that last goal line stance in the final game of the season as to where we were playing, the seeding and stuff like that. So, it's that there's no game that you can take off. You can't just assume like, all right, well, if we lose this one, it's not a big deal, right? And so I'm going to eat a little bit of crow here. I was saying that the season's not over if you just lose one game, right? You just got to play harder later on, right? I said that. I'm going to eat a little bit of crow because Shanahan himself came out and said that, and when he said that, it was like this light bulb went off. I was like, oh, like I get it. Like it's an epiphany, right? You want to win the gimme games because those are the games that you look back on and say, damn, if we just beat those guys, right? So even with the example that he used, where last year we went and we had to stop Seattle. If we didn't stop, what was the Titans' name that Greenlaw hit? Anyway, whatever his name. Who?
Wasn't it Disley?
Maybe Will Disley, right? But like, if he didn't make that stop, then we are the 5 seed, and it's like, damn, we really should have handled Atlanta when we had them. You know what I mean? Like then losing that Atlanta game, a team that's, inferior to the 49ers, like then it's like, damn, that game came back to bite us. I understand what you and Tony and you guys were like trying to drive home to me. Like this game is a must win, talking about last week about the Giants. And so I kind of feel the same way about this one, but I still can't stop wrapping my brain around the fact that all these injuries we've had, and I look at the league and the season in 4-game quarters.
Right.
I still think that with all those injuries, coming out 2-2 is really freaking good, and we should be happy about that. While we're enduring all the injuries now, other teams are going to have to endure them later when the games start to count more because now they know the final count. You know what I'm saying? And Shanahan did go on to say, now if it's, the final 2 weeks and you got certain seeds locked up, then it's not that big of a deal. But until then, you have to play the games like they all count. So what I wanted to ask you about was this, and you touched on a lot, and you touched on the corner position and all that stuff, and I want to go back to that. That's where I want to start. If Taylor is struggling now, there's a graphic in there with our injuries of people who were already ruled out. I don't know if that graphic, if you know where that is, but is K'Wan Williams already ruled out, or is he questionable?
He's listed as questionable. They'll make that decision tomorrow, they said.
They'll make it tomorrow. All right, so let's talk about that. He did return to practice, right? And he was out there, and they've said all along that it's about being able to take care of yourself. The positive thing is he's not listed as doubtful. He's listed as questionable. Do we think that he plays? Let's just start there because we're going to have to try to break this down to segments.
All right, so let me just get this contribution real quick, these 2 contributions, then we'll break it out. So Sean says, Sunday will say Carson went home with his head hanging low after getting smashed by the Niners. City of Brotherly Love is getting a bro slap in the face. And then our guy Ryan B is in here, and he dropped us a $4.99 or Philly Talk podcast. Let me do his real quick. That's Mike, who also runs a YouTube channel, guys. Make sure you guys check that out on YouTube.
Philly Mike,
yep. He said, broke down the tape, forgot to add 2 good throws by Mullins. However, the creativity in the run game and how you use Kyle Juszczyk and Kittle, Kyle Shanahan's nice.
I wish I could send him a link. I would love to ask him a couple of questions.
Yeah, I can get a hold of him on Twitter.
Yeah, see if he's interested in coming in, if you don't mind. And I want to ask him a couple of questions. If he's not interested, he don't want to jump in. Some people want to be in a certain setup and all that. I understand, and it's kind of spur of the moment. But if he wants to jump in, then yeah, good. I'm gonna shut up.
Yeah. And then a lot of Niners fans were talking smack to Ryan, who's in here, and he makes a $4.99 contribution. We appreciate you, bro. He says so they were saying how Ryan won't be around after they lose, blah, blah, blah. So he says all these Niners fans talking smack are going to disappear quicker than the run game did in the Super Bowl. with emoji, laughing emoji faces and the Eagle signs, and he says, "Appreciate y'all, boys." So,
oh my God.
Look, man, he's got a point there, guys. He got a point there. He might drop y'all asses. He might drop y'all asses. So, but look, he's completely right. That's definitely the truth. But he said he'll be around no matter what. So I have faith in him, man. He's a Jersey boy, so he's
a man of his word.
He's a man of his word, right? So that's the way that it is. But let me while you talk real quick, I'm gonna go and try to get him on real quick and see
absolutely.
Come on.
Yeah, shoot him link and all that. So I want to. Let me move my smoke so that way it's not going across the my face the whole time. I'm sorry about that, folks. I was a little unprofessional. So I want to talk about the designation of questionable for K'Wan Williams. It's a very, very good designation. Somebody who's usually coming back from a significant injury that causes them to miss a game or two. They usually come back questionable, not doubtful. If it was doubtful, I would be worried. You're coming back from an injury and they don't believe you're going to play. And I try to put them in the tiers, and they eliminated one of them called probable. So now that there's only questionable and doubtful, I look at doubtful as that there's a less than 50% chance that you're going to play. And I look at questionable as here's the contradiction. I look at questionable as 60% or more. I know that there's 10% that's missing. I understand that. That's how I do this. So I think that there's a really good chance that K'Wan Williams comes in and he plays. Now, here's the thing. I think the Eagles lost this guy that they had that was a slot guy. I think they lost him last game. I can't remember.
Jalen Reagor.
Is he the guy that plays in the slot? Is he out?
JJ Arcega-Whiteside is out. And Jalen Reagor's out because he has the thumb injury, just had surgery, the same surgery that Drew Brees had, the UNC.
So he's been out for 2 games. That's the guy.
2 games, yep, Jalen Reagor.
Okay, so I think now they're in the chat. They can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he lines up in the slot a lot. And I think that's the kind of guy that Williams struggles against. Lately, Williams has been struggling against these guys in the slot, and I don't know if it's age, I don't know what it is. And we always brush it off as 49er fans because that's just not who he is. Right, but he had that one bad game against Seattle where they were eating him in the slot, and then he had a bad play a couple of games ago, and it was like, you know what, that's Williams, that's a one-off. We'll write that off. He'll bounce back, but then he got injured and he was done. I think having him back in this defense allows Robert Saleh a luxury that he's otherwise not afforded. And I'm not saying that just to say, oh, every starter is important. I understand that, right? But with Williams, because he's really good in the run, he's really good against the pass, and he's an excellent blitzer also. I think that he's a gadget player, unlike most nickel corners in the league. Unlike most. I'm not going to say any or all, but unlike most. I think he gives an extra or an add. Sorry that you guys hear my notifications going off on my phone. I'm really sorry about that. But I think that he has an added dimension of play.
Got more bugs around?
No, bro. I think I just saw something run across my driveway. I'm about to go get Niner and bring his ass out here to make sure don't nothing run up on me. Because I can't, with this light right in my eyes, it's like a blur. I can't see anything out here right now. So it could have just been my chair cushions have like the tags on them still. So the tags like kind of wave. So it could have just been that. I don't know. But what was I? Oh, he adds a dimension to Robert Saleh's style of defense that if we don't have that veteran presence and the wherewithal in there, I think we lose that. And so if Taylor has to go in there, what's his name? It is Taylor, right? That's the guy that we're talking about.
Jabbar Taylor.
Yeah, Jamar. So if Jamar Taylor is in there, I think it's going to be, this is your assignment. This is your guy. Cover him, period. I doubt that they send him in a lot in run coverage. I doubt that they send him to blitz. That's something that you want K'Wan Williams doing, the Shark doing. So with him, I'm going to have to turn off these notifications and I'm going to lose the light for a couple of seconds, but I'm going to stop talking really quick. But with him coming back, it's an added dimension that hopefully we don't have to bring down Jimmy Ward to do. And hopefully, we can expose, or not even expose, but create some mismatches with our defense and running a nickel. Now, the flip side to this is, do we really need a nickel corner, Nick? And I'm going to pose this to you, and then I'm going to shut up, right? With all their wide receivers being injured, how many 3 or 4 wide receiver sets are they really going to run out there? So I want to get your thoughts on that while I turn off my notifications.
Yeah, it's an interesting question to pose to me or this team, right? I still think they come out with that. Look, Miles Sanders is a guy who can do, more than enough out of, catching the football and things like that. I really like Miles Sanders. I think the Eagles need to get him more involved in this offense other than just running. But as to how many times they go line up, 3-4 wide receiver sets, it's still to be seen. But I don't think it's something that they'll execute because of the fact that their injury, how many injuries they have, and then just going out there and being able to implement, these 3-4 wide receiver sets with guys that really aren't used to playing. They're backup guys, and some of them are from the practice squad or things like that. I look to see Scott to have a bigger game in this game as well as Miles Sanders, not Miles Gaskin. Miles Sanders,
the running back though, right?
Yeah, both of those are running backs. So, but they're very, how can I say this? Very vague with the way they call their offense. As in they're, like Ryan was saying, they're not very creative, right? So, it's, if they do it, it's just line up and be able to cover the guy for a certain amount of time and hope that your pass rush gets there. And I think that's where, they're definitely their offense is definitely built off of speed, right? For guys like Deshaun Jackson, JJ Arcega-Whiteside. But those are two guys that are out, right? So what speed do they have right now?
And then here's the flip side to that, is that when they don't get you with speed, they just get you with bullies like Jeffrey, and he's not even out. Like Alshon's been out all year, yeah.
Right. So, their injuries are really, I think their injuries are more crucial to their team than what our injuries are on our side of the football. And you got to look at it. We're getting a George Kittle back who, should go ham on these linebackers or whoever's covering them. Now, look, Darius Slay is no slouch, right? The dude is good. He's going to play good football. It's just a matter of Kyle Shanahan implementing the mismatches that he can implement in this game. And we know Kyle Shanahan is good with showcasing mismatches. So how much of mismatches can Kyle Shanahan come up with? And, how often do we have to be creative defensively as well as offensively? Yeah.
Now, those notifications was Tony sending us text messages asking to join. So I sent him the link also. So be on the lookout for Tony. I don't know if Philly Mike is going to jump in here too, but I definitely sent the link to Tony. So be on the lookout for that over there, Nick. All right. Because I can't see any of that. Sorry.
Tony's in right now.
Oh, he's already in here.
Yeah.
All right. Let's hear what he has to say, man.
Come on. Philly Talk Mike is going to be coming on for a few also.
Oh, let's go. That's what I'm talking about. I love it. Does that count as a phone a friend?
No. I did it, so I guess I'll get the phone a friend.
What? Come on. I was like, come on, bring him in.
No. Yeah, I'll give you that.
No. Never mind. Wait. I changed my mind. I don't want that because he's the opponent. I don't want the phone a friend to be an opponent. No,
you got the phone a friend, bro. You're good.
Tony, man, what's going on?
What's up? What's going on?
What's up, man? What you drinking over there? Apple juice?
No, green tea.
Oh, even worse.
Wait, it's green tea, no sugar, extra ice. Tony,
is that how he orders it?
Bro, I don't know why Tony even asked for tea, bro. He should just straight up just give me some tinted water and I'll drink it.
Large ice green tea, unsweetened, extra ice.
So you're basically getting yellow water.
What's the point? What?
Yellow water. Look, you can see through it. Bro, I was gonna say something about but I'm not gonna say it because that's what
I wish I could see his tea, bro. I swear to God, I remember the first time I was ever on the phone. I was on the phone with Tony. He was going through a drive-thru. I don't know if it was Dunkin' or wherever it was, but he ordered his tea. I'm like, bro, what was the point of asking for a tea? Just ask him for a cup of ice. Just get a large water and wait for that shit to melt. What are you doing? Like, what?
Bro, All right, so look, Mike is on here now. I'm gonna add him in here also. Mike, what's going on, man?
What is going on, everybody? I see the Philly Talk podcast is in red, of course.
Of course, no green. Look, I was watching you the other night on your show, man, talking about Doug Peterson and things like that. And first off, tell everybody who you are and what you do, also, man. And appreciate you jumping on here.
No
Yeah,
problem.
make sure we
no
type the tag in there so we can send people his way also.
Definitely, yeah. So I go by Philly Mike, host of the Philly Talk podcast. Just started my YouTube channel exactly a month ago via September. So we're pretty much 13 months in. Like I said, there's a lot of great Eagles content creators out there, some old heads, some new heads. But yeah, man, pretty much just decided to talk about it. It grew to something that's kind of, I didn't imagine in the first year. But yeah, I mean, been an Eagle fan my whole life. It is what it is, though. So this is going to be a good matchup. Listen, your team can be as injured as possible. You guys got a system, and you know how to execute the system. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike. I know you had a couple questions, so.
Yeah, so I'm going to throw this back to Mike, my counter, Mike. This is bad, but this is weird. But yeah, I'm going to throw this back to him. You had some very strong opinions about your coach, Doug Peterson. More importantly, about how he addressed the media following the game. So I want to give you the floor here because I expressed this on the previous show with RB, with Ryan from the other Philly channel, and I want to get your take on this because Doug Peterson did some stuff that I don't think a head coach should ever do at a press conference. So I want to get your thoughts on it really quick.
Doug Peterson is probably hands down one of the worst talkers at a press conference. It goes to show the internal beef where who really is the boss. You got some head coaches who have total control. Listen, let's be honest. Last year, to end the season, he came up on the podium and simply said, in black and white, to be honest, that Mike Groh and Carson Walsh, which is our OC and wide receiver coach, will be back next year. Within 24 hours, he comes back like, well, after looking at tape and further checking things out, he's not. So pretty much what happened is as soon as he left the podium, Howie Roseman did one of these things. Come here. It's either them or you type thing. Stop it. And so he did what he had to do. And so I'm thinking, and Howie Roseman is such a great cap guy, man. The dude works numbers. He can get trades out of the blue. He can sign these guys, like you're saying. We got a lot of guys who are old who are making money. We're going to be in cap trouble in 2021. Hopefully he can get us out. But when it comes to scouting, when it comes to picking staff, he's never been trustworthy. The Super Bowl high, we're still riding off. But look, we have to look at reality and realize like there's things that are going on in this organization that got to be fixed. And it starts with the top and it trickles down to the bottom.
Let me ask you this question before you change subjects on those two in particular. It's a two-parter. One, if you had to choose one or the other, Roseman or Peterson, I want to know who you would want. Peterson's the guy who brought the ring to Philly, and I know how long you guys wanted that. The other question is, I'm out here in the Philly area, and I know how much they appreciate honesty. I know he says some things at the mic that he shouldn't say, but you can tell that he's speaking from where he sincerely feels and where he thinks. Do you prefer that, or do you want someone who's a little bit more media trained and knows what not to say, even though he's thinking it?
Let's be honest. I think Doug Peterson is media trained. He keeps you can go into a press conference and come out not gaining an inch of anything. Now, there were some things slipped up when he said, did you mean regress or progress about Carson Wentz and stuff like that? That's a slip up, but it's not a let me speak my true colors. It's a he's a little cuckoo up top. And I like the cuckoo when it comes to, getting there on fourth down, doing stuff that other coach won't do. But listen, I've heard him talk for a long time. He's not all up there. I made a video in the offseason where he's not on the podium and he's like playing with a water bottle, like doing weird stuff with it. And it's like, bro, you're not talking, but there's cameras all over. People are going to look at you like, come on, act your age. So it's a lot of that. I love Doug Peterson. He brought a ring to the organization. Howie was a part of it. Here's my thing. I'm not ready to get rid of anybody right this second, but I want to see how this season plays out. We have the worst division in the NFL. And so we'll see how it plays out. I'm not happy to win a division at like 7-9, like the Seattle Seahawks did back in the day. Marshawn Lynch, get off me, Darren Sharper type kind of a game. But hey, my thing is you got to give Doug a little bit of leeway because of the Super Bowl. We're just only 3 years removed from it. But things got to start changing. Since we lost some of our staff from the Super Bowl run, we haven't been the same. We made the playoffs twice after the Super Bowl. So if you think about the last years, you're talking about a Super Bowl, second round, first round, but we're in the playoffs. The LA Rams make the playoff. I mean, it makes a Super Bowl and then they don't make the playoffs the next year. You know what I mean? So we are still competitive, but it's like, as an Eagle fan, really watching how it unfolds. I know there's talent there. We can be better. And Carson Wentz, this dude right here. I mean, statistically, he's the worst quarterback in the NFL. Do I believe it? No. Am I very upset with these 3 games? Yes. I am a Carson Wentz supporter, but I'm not blind to the tape. The dude is doing things that you physically can't do as a quarterback, let alone 5th-year quarterback. So it's there. Is it part of the play calling / personnel / front office drama? Possibly, because you don't go from – listen, one thing I want to say real quick before I let you guys have it. I'm not saying Carson Wentz got to go back to the 2017 MVP form. Can we just get back to 2019? He is the only quarterback in the NFL that has 20 or more touchdowns with 7 or fewer interceptions in 3 years straight.
Yes, every year.
Wilson has it, Brady has it, and Rodgers has it for 2 years. So my thing is, his characteristic is taking care of the ball when it comes to interceptions. He's horrible when it comes to fumbles. But how do you go from being a guy who don't throw interceptions 3 years straight to 6 in 3 games? Something changed.
Okay, so I want to give it to Tony to respond to that because I know Tony has some passionate thoughts on it too. So he's been paying attention, and we're all from the area where we hear the Philly news more than we would like to. So I want to hear what Tony's thoughts are on that and give it back to you.
I'm not a big, obviously I'm not like a big Philly fan. But I do have friends that are Philly fans. So what they're telling me is it's kind of like Peterson did something to the offense. I don't know if it's, I don't know what it is because I don't know their offense like I know the Niners offense, but it seems like he's taken him out of his strength and making him do things that he's not as good at. I mean, do you see that?
Yeah, no, I see that. We all know that Carson Wentz is better out the pocket on the move. Last year, he had a second to Russell Wilson when it's throwing on the run. We don't do that enough. Doug tries to equivalent it to we're not as good on first down, but he has to do that. We brought a guy from the Denver Broncos in Rich Scanganello, I can never say his last name, to physically bring more bootlegs and rollouts, and it hasn't been implemented. Again, I think it's a struggle of, let's be honest, Carson Wentz to me is not fully injury prone because if you take it out of a 4-year sample size, two he made it 16, 2 he didn't. The other one he got hurt, crowned in the back of the head by Jadeveon Clowney. If he would have tore his elbow, broke a bone, tore a ligament, I would have said, really, bro? You know what I mean? Really, bro? But it was one of them freak accidents, so I won't call him that. But I think the Eagles are concerned of him rolling out because North Dakota assassin, he's all about that. He don't slide. When he can slide, he don't do it. So they're thinking if we keep him in the pocket, we keep him away of danger. But now he's pressing. I'm in the pocket. I got to do this. I don't feel comfortable. I don't really like it. The mechanic slipping, this, that, and the third. And he's just regressing in front of our eyes. But it's not like the talent's not there. You see 1 or 2 throws in a game like, well, there he is. Where is it the rest? So I think he got his mobility back in the Cincinnati game. I think they're like, well, we're 0-2-1. What we got to lose? Let this guy be Carson. If he gets hurt, we haven't won a game yet. If he gets hurt, he gets hurt. We got to let him play football. It's a grown man sport. Do what you got to do.
Like, I'll be honest with you. I watched some week 1 versus Washington in the first half, and that offense looked unstoppable. Now, I don't know if it's a power struggle between the coaches, between Scangarello, between Peterson. Is Marty Mornhinweg on the staff too?
Correct.
So you have 3 West Coast. Well, yeah, Peterson is a West Coast guy. You have 3 West Coast offense background coaches, and terminology should be the same. The basic fundamentals of the offense should be the same. It's just I kind of think it's like a power struggle because listen, Marty was a head coach with Detroit. He's the offensive coordinator with the Niners. So he's like that, okay, I can call the plays for this offense. Scangarello was the quarterback coach under Shanahan. Very intelligent, works great with quarterbacks. He tried to take that system and go to Denver with it. It didn't work. I don't know why, but now you have all three of those guys who all three were previously play callers. One of them's a head coach. Two of them actually were head coaches. So it's kind of like I think until those three get on the same page, it's going to be a problem.
And Mike kind of hinted to that about a power struggle. He said it and then he kind of glossed over it, but maybe that's what Philadelphia is experiencing right now. And this is the question, because I know that Peterson was asked about giving up play calling responsibilities. He's got guys on the staff that are capable of calling plays. Do you think that him just coming flat out and saying no, instead of, oh, maybe we'll do what we have to do to win, instead of giving a vague answer like that and trying to being a little more passive, he was very adamant about, no, I'm not doing that, right? So do you think that could cause some turmoil internally? And is that what we're experiencing or what we're witnessing right now? And it's unfortunately falling on the quarterback. We all know quarterbacks get more blame than they deserve for losing, and they get all the glory for when they win. So do you guys think that that's what we're seeing? Nick, we haven't heard from you in a while. I want to get Nick's opinion on it also.
Yeah, go ahead, Nick. Your mic is muted.
I was about to say, is he even there? I can't see the screen.
Sorry, my bad. Before we get into that, I wanted to touch on that as well, because look, how much of Carson Wentz is he losing of his game because he was held back for so long, right? So he's not used to playing the way that he was playing before his injury, pre-injury. Then you go out and you get injured, and then you touched on it and you said, okay, we're 0-2-1. Like, let this guy play football, right? So us as Niners fans seen that with Colin Kaepernick, right? So when Colin Kaepernick was here, because we took Colin Kaepernick away from his game, and Jim Harbaugh literally went down, and Greg Roman went down, right? So offensively, we just could not move the ball the way that we used to, because we took the main part of Colin Kaepernick's game and tried to make him a pocket quarterback, and it destroyed our offense and destroyed our team. How much are the Eagles front office and coaches doing that to Carson Wentz? Because like you said, we're seeing him regress and not progress, because you're taking the mobility factor out of it, where he can roll out, throw on the run. And like you said, he was second to Russell Wilson. The offense was moving the football. But, then on top of that, you go into, where are you guys at receiver-wise right now? Obviously, right, you're keeping an older Alshon Jeffrey around, right? You go out and you get a banged-up Deshaun Jackson who hasn't really been healthy since his years in Philly before. You go and you draft a guy in Jalen Reagor over a guy like Justin Jefferson or even a Brandon Ayuk, like these guys that are playmakers. And you go and not that Jalen Reagor's not a good talent, but there was better receivers on the board when Jalen Reagor was there, in my opinion, right? In my opinion. But, you go and you do these things, and then, like, I know a lot of my friends are like, Jesus Christ, why didn't you draft Justin Jefferson? Like, he would have been a perfect fit for this, right? And then you pass over him, you go to Jalen Reagor. Now, Jalen Reagor brings a lot of talent, but now obviously he's hurt, so he's not helping your team right now. So you're still stuck with those Alshon Jeffreys and, those Deshaun Jacksons who can't stay on the field either. And I can remember Eagles fans just last year, I believe, saying, why is Alshon Jeffrey still here? Why are we paying this guy this much money? We need to go out and get this talent. Now, how much of it is holding him back? And then on top of holding him back, you don't have the talent at receiver, and then you don't utilize your running backs in Miles Sanders the way that you should as well.
Yeah. But just really quick, we're also seeing that when you take a quarterback out of their element, we're seeing it in Baltimore also. Now, Niner fans, well, we kind of expected that. That's what happens with Greg Roman in 2 or 3 years, right? We expected it. But when you take the element away from these guys, when you ask them to protect themselves a little bit more, they start overthinking. These guys work better on the move. And when you take it away from, not everybody can do it like how Russell Wilson did. And I think that's what all these teams truly want. They want to know that the guy has the ability to run, but they want him to be a pocket passer when they ask him to. Some guys just can't make that transition right away. Cam Newton has been struggling to do it his entire career, and he's up and down with it still. So I'm going to shut up. I'll give it back to you guys. Sorry.
Nah. I want to hit on a couple points. Let me start with the power struggle. Like I said, when it comes to Marty Morningway and Rich. I'm gonna call him Richie Rich because I can never say that last name. People will tell me it. I'll remember it, and the next time I go to set, I can't do it. It's just me. Anyway, we call him Richie Rich. Again, when it comes to that, do you know who probably picked them? Now, this is not set in stone. There's no actual article that says that, but let's be honest. The guy gives you to come here, fire Mike Groh and Carson Walsh. The next guys who come in, listen, we had a whole thing that Doug Peterson does not need an OC because he wants to be the play caller. Well, you bring in two guys who formerly called plays, not to be the play caller, but Howie Roseman wants them close to the vest of Doug Peterson to give him that extra oomph, to give him that push, to give him that, insight in the ear. And this is what I've been saying. I wanted a veteran guy to be OC, maybe not to call plays, but nobody's going to jump to the OC position if they can't call plays. Let's be honest. That's like a kid seeing can I get a gift? Yeah, but you can't open it. So I can just stare at it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it then. But when it comes down to it, it's like this. Doug Peterson was the play caller in 2017, but I think Frank Wright really prepped him. I think him and Frank Wright were so tight where if there was crucial situations in the game, because I think Doug can call plays. I think he can call plays, but his situational football is questionable. There will be times in the game where we get on the move, get on the go. I'm like, dang, Doug, I like that. But his situational football is questionable. And I think that Frank Wright was in his ear with the situational football and kept him balanced. Now, I think Howie Roseman saw that last year, how we were so predictable, and we're being predictable this year too. But I think that's why he brought in Marty Morningway and Richie Rich to counteract that predictability and get in his ear. And maybe Doug not liking it because it's not his staff. I don't know. This has never been put out there, but this is just me watching the game and seeing how it's going. Marty Morningway was the OC for the Eagles back in the day. Like, he's a veteran in the game. I don't like his play calling selection, but I like his play design. You work all week, design plays. Get Richie Rich, get Marty Morningway involved to design plays, let Doug call them and use them in your ear to say, okay, like, one thing I don't like about Doug is he abandons the run. Y'all brought up Miles Sanders. He's a stud. He's a stud. He's good. He's like a little shady 2.0. He's not shady yet, but he has that in him. The dude played half the season last year because Jordan Howard for the first 5 or 6 games started, and he had 816 yards. Like, he's on. If he can play, he can be like a shady. The boy's nice. Did you see as a running back against the Cincinnati Bengals cornerback? Did you see the double move he did that Carson Wentz just totally missed him? The double move was a receiver route. Like, receivers can't run that double move as good as he did. And he did it, and we just missed him. So, but as you said, Carson Wentz, not in his element, trying to push, can't get it done. He's been bad. He's statistically the worst quarterback in the game. I'm not giving up on him. I know Philly's like, bench him. Give me Jalen Hurts right now. And I'm like, listen. This is a huge organizational decision. You don't just, it's not Madden. You don't just wake up and just bench him. Like, if you bench him at halftime to teach him a lesson is different than just like fully benching him. It's $100+ million guy. Listen, it's a little broke. Fix it. That's what head coaches are for. That's what quarterback coaches are for, which I don't like our quarterback coach. But when it comes to the grand scheme of things of Philly, there's a lot of problems in there. And the ink bug, like you said, hit. I was a big Jalen Reagor dude out of TCU. I think he's much more than a deep threat. He has that Steve Smith Sr. background. He's a small guy. He can catch over the middle. He's tough. He came in second to CeeDee Lamb for yards after the catch. The dude can catch the ball on a bubble screen and go the distance. Like, he's good. When you look at his quarterback in college, he was the worst. I mean, most uncatchable ball rate in the game, but he caught the most contested catches. So he's a guy. He's only 5'9", 5'10", but he got a 42-inch vertical and all that. I like it. But here's the thing. They're not healthy. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, our second-round pick, who's not good on the field, out. Alshon Jeffrey, out. Deshaun Jackson for this game, out. Jalen Reagor, out. What? So now we're going into this game with a slot receiver, a practice squad player last year, and Greg Ward Jr. We're going into this game with Deontay Burnett, who was a practice squad last year, didn't make the team this year, and now elevated onto the squad to play against you guys. And lastly, our 5th-round wide receiver draft pick, John Hightower. So we got a practice squad player, and a 5th-round wide receiver going against you guys. And also, our explosive tight end, because Zach Ertz is still our guy to get the route running, the chain mover, but our explosive guy, Dallas Goedert, he not there either.
Yeah.
And Miles Sanders dealing with a glute problem. He's going to play, but can he get 20 touches? I don't know. So we both know how it feels to be hurt. And I want to know what y'all take on y'all injuries. But again, the way y'all play, you would have thought against the Jets and the Giants, if you just look at the box score, do they got all their players?
Yeah, and you forgot one guy that you guys got in the offseason who opted out to COVID as well in Marquise. So, a speed guy, right? So your offense, you're trying to build that offense around speed, right? Kind of like Kansas City does because Rager's pretty quick. Obviously Deshaun Jackson, Marquise Goodwin, AJ Arcega-Whiteside, all speed guys, right? So it sucks. The injury bug sucks, right? And it definitely puts more trauma and blunt force towards Carson Wentz. Let's not leave out your offensive line play, because Carson Wentz has been under pressure a whole lot this year, as well. And you got guys, playing different positions and switching over. You lost your starting tackle, I believe, and then he switches over, wants a new contract, and then he gets hurt. So a lot of it has to do with injuries as well on the offensive side of the football. I'll let Tony answer the question first about our guys with injuries. He said that, if you look at the box score, you think that, our starters are in there. And what are your feelings on that whole situation?
Now, while Tony's talking, just pull up the graphic that our injuries, our outs and all that are up there already. Let's pull that up one more time while Tony's speaking. So, just a point of reference for people out there watching. So, and then Tony, you go ahead and have the floor.
All right, so basically Jimmy's out with the ankle, Mostert's with the knee, Mosley's with a concussion, Witherspoon hamstring, Greenlaw with the quad, Ford with the back, and Reed with the knee. Kwan's questionable because of his hip. Kittle and Debo are cleared to play. So basically the reason why this team is so successful is, A, the ability for John Lynch and their upper echelon, the front office, to find players that fit this system. Not just bring in players that, we think he could do this or he could do that or we could project to this. No, he gets the people that fit this system to the T. Secondly, it's the staff. They prepare these guys. These guys are cross-trained. They're ready to go. And in San Francisco, when they say next man up, it's literally the next man up, and it doesn't miss a beat majority of the times. So the reason why listen, the Giants, in my opinion, have a very solid defense. I understand it's year one under that defensive coordinator.
Great run defense. Great run defense.
Very solid defense. Now, the problem here is, like, when you look at the Giants and you look at the Eagles, they're two different style defenses. They're a 34 front in New York. The Eagles play a 43 front. So they're more of a speed type off the edge, similar to what we do. But, and I know I'm getting a little off topic. I honestly think this game comes down to the 49ers interior offensive. Screw that. If all five can play at their best and play their game, I think they could take care of business. But I'm just going to say this. Your interior potentially could give this team fits. And that's where Kyle comes in. Kyle's motions and Kyle's pre-snap motions and all that stuff is how you slow these defenses down. Like, I'll give you a perfect example, and I said this to Mike, and I think Nick was even on the show. When we faced Arizona and we had Bosa healthy, we had Ford healthy, the rotation in the middle was there. We should have really chewed up that offensive line and spit them out because they're not a good offensive line. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, because of the run threat, they rushed hesitant. They rushed afraid. They rushed looking into the backfield. So now when you face an offense as complicated as the 49ers, I think because of Kyle's pre-snap motion, it could keep this defense to slow down and not let them pin their ears back and get them.
Yeah, that you hit it on a nose. Listen. If you caught I don't know, because again, you guys probably haven't checked my channel out, but on Tuesdays I normally do a little preview. On Tuesday I try to break down the all 22 because that's when it comes out for the people who have the NFL, and they Game Pass and whatnot. And so I break it down and listen. Sean McVay gave us all the eye candy in the world on the Tuesday after that loss, and we fell for it. A bunch of Higbee touchdowns were because of Nathan Gary looking in the backfield, the pre-snap motion, all that good stuff. Their run game took us by surprise because they got 60 yards from their receivers rushing, and then Darrell Henderson put the extra icing on the cake to a defense that's pretty good against the run. For the last 4 years, we've been top 5. Like we stopped the run. People in Philly hate Fletcher Cox right now because they think he's making too much money. His pass rush is not there, but ain't nobody's listen. Let me say this. Aaron Donald is the best D tackle in the game because his run and pass. And Fletcher Cox got nothing on him against the pass rush of Aaron Donald. Mm-hmm. But if it's just run stopper, ain't nobody better than Fletcher Cox. If it's just run stopper, I think Fletcher Cox is better than Aaron Donald. But here's the thing. Aaron Donald gets a B plus for run and an A for pass. Fletcher Cox gets an A for rush and like a C for pass, and that's why Aaron Donald's the best D tackle in the game. But when it comes to the run, Fletcher Cox is a big cog in the middle. Like, he don't play around. But I did a preview video. I normally drop them on Thursday, but I broke it down today, and I did it today. And I left out 2 great passes of Nick Mullins that I want to show that, listen, I'm not scared of his arm, but in this system, it'll work. It was the pass to Brandon Ayuk on a dig route where he caught the ball in traffic against the Giants. I mean, the dude.
Yeah, he put it between 3 players.
Correct. Yeah. I had it there, but I messed up. You know, I got kids and stuff trying to get the video on early. I cut one of them out, and I apologize to any Niner fans who watched it. But I broke down 3 run plays, and this is what I love about Kyle Juszczyk. And I talked about it in RB stream. I gave you a little super chat to RB for it. Man, you disguise your run pass scenario so great with having Kyle Juszczyk on the field, because as soon as he's on the field, you're like, is he going to run it? But no, he's not. The dude, as a fullback, can receive as a tight end type player. You got Kittle, who to me is the best blocker in the game when it comes to tight end. And that's why I elevate him over Kelsey. Because listen, if it's pure receiving, maybe Kelsey got him by a little bit. But how, again, just like Aaron Donald and Fletcher Cox, the little bit that Kelsey is a pure catcher over him, which is not a lot, the blockers like this. You know what I mean? So it then elevates Kittle as the number 1 tight end in the game. Because again, A+ for Kelsey, A- for Kittle, but then the blocking is only a B- for Kelsey, and then you got an A and Kittle at blocking too. So that's why I think on that note, I broke down 3 runs. You had Kyle Juszczyk in the shotgun, and they gave the ball to Jerick McKinnon. And who's your 3rd string tight end? I don't know his name. I forgot.
I think you're talking about the play with Dwelly.
Dwelly, right? It was back-to-back runs. So they were in the shotgun. They hiked the ball. Dwelly just sealed off a wall against a linebacker of the New York Giants. And Kyle Juszczyk came on and just checked the DN like nothing. Checked them, sealed the wall off, easy run to about 11 yards into the 6-yard line. And then the very next play, they go I formation. And again, you could be in an I formation with Juszczyk. You think it's automatic run. It could be a pass. But again, Juszczyk, the creativity to pull your left guard all the way to outside. You let your 3rd string tight end, I can't remember the name again.
Dwelly or Warner. It depends if Reed was out.
Yeah, Reed got hurt at that point. So you let the tight end and the left tackle block man-to-man on that. You pull your left guard over, and you got the left guard plus Juszczyk blocking for McKinnon. And the thing is, a lot of young running backs want to bounce that outside. He stays between Juszczyk and the left guard, who's pulling, and it's easy money in the touchdown. And the last one was the creativity on the end of round 2, Brandon Ayuk. It was great because when you fake the ball to the running back, Juszczyk went to act like he was blocking for the running back, then came back and blocked on the right side. So it was crazy. So you audible a wide receiver to the right side. He's on the left side. You audible the wide receiver to the right side. He also does like a little chip block as well. You know, just a little baby wide receiver block, nothing special. But the way Juszczyk fakes to the left, fakes the ball belly in the air, you give it to Ayuk, and your center and I believe your right guard pull. They pull. So now Brandon Ayuk got the ball with a lot of green, and you got a center, you got the right guard, and you got Kyle Juszczyk looking like Bobby Boucher as the lead blocker. And Your man Brandon Ayuk just walks into the end zone. It's perfectly executed with the creativity and the style. And fullbacks are gone. But Kyle Juszczyk, until he wants to retire, he will have a spot anywhere in the NFL because of his catching ability. And he's just a physical monster. I'm scared.
That block by Juice on that one play. I mean, he on the touchdown by Ayuk was crazy. I mean, he put that dude on his ass on the outside as the last block. But yeah, you're right. And we talk about this on the show is how important Juice is to this offense, right? And, last year, a lot of fans don't realize, but we played like 3 games without Juice. And Ross Dwelly, who was our second string tight end last year, who now is a third string tight end, played fullback and could block and do. We didn't miss a beat. And that's where Tony was talking about. And like you're saying, the things that Kyle Shanahan does is he cross-trains everybody on the field. So all of our defensive line plays interior and exterior. So they know that if they have to step in, they know the parts that they need to do on the interior and the outside. So then you go to the offensive line. Every guy plays right guard, left guard, tackle, swing tackles play, backups play, guard and tackle. The only position that we really don't do, but we did a little bit of this year because of injuries, was center. We had a guard who was naturally a guard or tackle playing center. So that's where the difference is with these teams is when we get into our backup players, they step in like they're starters because they're so used to it because of all the cross training, and they execute. And that's, to win football games, you got to execute. But you're 100% right on Juice.
So before we let Mike go and then we get back into the rest of our show, I want to get a final prediction from Philly Mike here. And you guys, like I said, give him a follow on Twitter if you guys are interested. Obviously, he's giving the Niners a ton of props on this page. You guys go check that out also. But I want to get a final. How do you think the game? You don't have to give me a score. You have to give me winners or losers. But let me know how you think this game is going to break down.
Well, yeah, when it comes to at the end of the day type of segment, I got to say this. Look, the Eagles have lost games off of just straight disgusting mistakes, and we played bad football. You guys know as well as any NFL fan knows, the team that loses the turnover battle normally loses. Unless you're playing against the Atlanta Falcons, well, you can turn the ball over as much as you want. They're going to screw it up at the end of the day. You know what I mean? But if you're not
the Steelers with Kyle Rudolph.
Huh?
I said, or the Steelers with Kyle Rudolph. We
exactly.
had turnovers last year.
But if you're playing a team and you lose the turnover battle, well, you probably lost a game. But we lost a turnover battle every single game of the season. And partly because of this guy right here. And like I said, he's been up and down, but it's Sunday night, primetime football. This is what I think. When I look at your secondary, your linebackers, the fact that Baby Bosa, who's the better Bosa, to be honest, all these guys, D4, Sullivan Thomas is not there. Listen, our offense is beat up, but you got the Zach Ertz still. You got kind of the guys where maybe they kind of rally under Carson Wentz in the situation. I do think we're not the Giants, and I watched that game closely on the All-22. The Giants kept giving you opportunities. Daniel Jones, the only thing he did good that game was them couple runs. Like his passes were he's not that dude. I mean, he got little potential, but it is what it is. If we can play a clean game, I really do think like this could be a game where, again, you play the Jets and the Giants, 2 dumpster fires, which we are kind of close to a dumpster fire. I'm not going to be lying. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit there and say this is the Eagles that, you know what I'm saying? Let's be honest. The tape is the tape. But also watching the tape and dissecting, it's like, bro, we're still in these games and we're just giving the ball away. Like we gave the ball to the Washington football team twice inside the 40. Like, I mean, we gave the ball to the Rams when we were actually coming back up to catch up. We just gave an interception, and the same thing with the Cincinnati Bengals. So it comes down to like, if we can just limit the turnovers, which the Eagles are normally good to do, I really do think we can get you guys. And it's not no slight on you. Let me just say this: if both teams are at full health, with the way we are preparing, our full health wouldn't be able to outfight your full health. Because I still do think we got some struggles in different positions. But I think that we're injured. But the way that list look, plus on that list wasn't Baby Bosa, wasn't Richard Sherman, wasn't Sullivan Thomas, because they've been out from the get-go. since week 1. Bro, I mean, Witherspoon, your other cornerback, Mosley, your other cornerback, like who is your secondary right now? Because I don't know off the top, and I'm a very good person because I do a lot of scouting. I normally know the 3rd and 4th guys, but you're on your 5th and 6th and 7th guy.
Yeah, well, Jason Verrett is filling in at one side of the corner, and then Dante Johnson is the other corner.
Dante Johnson, the former 4th round pick. Jason Verrett's a former 1st round pick and All Pro. So
from the Chargers.
Yeah. And which is healthy now. So that's what we've been betting on, is trying to get him healthy for that chance. So he played a hell of a game last week. I mean, obviously, but like you said, Daniel Jones missed a lot of opportunities last week also. So, with some throws that were over, just outside the zone of receivers being able to catch it or get past the sticks or things like that. So, it's gonna be an interesting game with all these injuries and banged up players and things like that. So it'll be interesting and fun to watch.
It sounds like Mike is saying that whoever wins the turnover battle has a better shot at winning this game.
And I said it on the stream where he was in with RB. Look, it's going to come down. Whoever plays the cleanest game is going to win this game. Again, I'm a realist. I'm a big sports bettor, but one of my number 1 rules, even when we were really winning games in 2017, never bet on my team. I never bet on my team, but I'm a very good bettor. And like I said, I'm an Eagles content creator. We could be the trashiest team, and I'm always going to say, let's go at the end of the day. But when I bring my analyst cap out, I do think you guys are as vulnerable as you'll ever be, and the game could be there for the taking. I think it's going to be a hard-fought battle, and if we lose this game, well, then it's going to bring the question marks all around, because it's not saying you guys are trash, but it's like your 3rd loss, 4 weeks in, no wins, and you're going against a destroy Niner team. But as you said, 4 receivers injured, and I want to note one thing. Darius Slay is still there, but Avonte Maddox, our starting 2nd corner, out. Our next corner, Trevor Williams, who came in and played pretty good against the Bengals, out. So we are 1 and 4 on the other side too. We're not as destroyed as you, but hey, battle of the IRs, I call it. You know what I'm saying? Because when you look at the rosters, if you go through all 32, we probably have the most IR players or the most injured players. So it's the battle of the IR. Whoever keeps it clean wins. Thank you guys for having me on. And I won't do a score prediction either because we OFA. So I just win. Just get the win. Appreciate
I do got one question before you get out of here, Mike.
Yeah.
How well do you think you guys will be able to handle George Kittle?
Bro, you better bracket him every play. Listen, I'm okay with receivers getting their thing. We just got to maintain. Listen, George Kittle's a freak of nature. I think once he gets physical in the running game, guys are going to be trying to get physical with him. Now he's going to do one of them little chip blocks and release, and they're going to be like, what? He's going out for the pass? What? So we're going to – and see, again, it's the realest of me. I'm a football – I study film, and it's going to be hard. So if I'm the Eagles, I'm bracket coveraging him at all times. I'm putting a linebacker on him, of course, at the line of scrimmage to grab him and block him inside 5 yards. But there always got to be a safety, a corner. This is where we get into some heavy dime because of us using a lot of safeties and corners, mix and match, we can get into dime and still have a decently heavy package on the field to stop the run, your outside zone, which you did a lot of like trap runs, like a lot of counters last game and stuff like that. But listen, you stop the run, it messes your flow up because all your misdirection, all your pre-snap motion is off of play action and bootlegs. So stop the run is something, but it's not as easy as it's said because you guys run creatively and Kittle scares me. Listen, the funny thing is I have Kittle. I got 2 fantasies and Kittle's in one of my fantasies. I've been waiting to play him, bro. I've been struggling a little bit and I'm like, come on, Kittle. But I'm like, hey, I'll take the fantasy loss. Stay out for one more week, my guy. I never wish injury on nobody, but stay out for one more week, my guy.
Yeah. You know, Mike, it was a pleasure having you jump on, man. One other thing, make sure, go tell Doug Peterson to start my boy Sean Bradley, man.
Right from Temple. Let's go.
Yeah, so that's one of my good buddies, man. I know his parents went to high school with them, coached him in football. So great kid, man, and the kid deserves it. He's a hell of a player, man. Hopefully he gets a shot out there soon.
Shout out to that. I didn't know that. That's tough.
Yeah. So tell him, get him on the field, man. So appreciate you jumping on with us, man, and we'll have to collab again, man. It was a pleasure. And Mike, you got anything else for him before he jumps out of here, Tony?
No, I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for being a true sport and and keeping it real. That's the one thing too, keeping it real. You said something on here that I got to learn myself. Don't bet on your own team because emotions start to take over and you start to see things that aren't really there because that's your squad. So I got to learn that myself.
Hey, green over green. You gotta keep them both close, but not in the same sentence. I appreciate you guys.
All right. See you, Mike. Take it easy, bud.
Peace.
All right, so let's get back to our regular program here, man. I like what he was saying, and he admitted how tough of a cover George Kittle is going to be. So, Tony, man, let's give it to you because we haven't heard a lot of your thoughts on this. And Nick and I just did another show previously, so I want to hear how you think this game is going to shake out, man. And then I want to hear about your biggest concerns also. So, give us a general overall, but your biggest concerns going into this game.
I think this game is going to go as far as our starting five takes us, our offensive line. I also think Kyle's going to be very creative in his pre-snap motions, different personnel packages to try to get them guessing. And I mean, he made a point not a point. He made a statement as far as saying going to a big nickel. Now, if you watch the Giants, they eventually switched to a nickel. And when they were in a nickel base, in a nickel package, that's when the 49ers ran those two big chunk plays with those guards pulling out, with Garland, Juszczyk, McGlinchey. And when that happens, yes, you're more fast. But when the team sees that and they switch to a run attack, that's where you could struggle.
Right.
Because once you get past that, the front six, not seven, the front six, and you go into that secondary, that's where you make that's how the Niners can really take advantage of this game. I think it's going to be the same thing. I think Kyle's going to come out with his I formation. He's going to keep it simple. He's going to scheme things open for Nick Mullins. I honestly think that this is going to be a statement game for Nick Mullins because he is facing a very good defensive line, especially on the interior. But like I said to him, Kyle has ways of stopping them, not physically blocking them and shutting them out, but Kyle does it in other ways. And if you listen to what he said, the Rams gave the Eagles fits. In my opinion, I think Kyle's a little more advanced in scheming than McVay. So that's where I think we have the advantage.
I like it, man. I'm surprised that he didn't talk about how the Eagles don't use a lot of pre-snap motions to make it easier for their struggling quarterback to figure out, is this his own, is his man? Like I would expect them to come out and do a lot more of that this game just to try to get a read on something, and they haven't really been doing that a ton, or at least as much as I think they should be doing it. So it'll be very interesting to see. I'm going to shut up and give it back to Nick to see what he thinks on all of this too.
Nick stepped out for a minute, but vice versa.
I didn't know.
Vice versa. Now, on the other hand, if the Eagles were smart, they would run a couple read options with Wentz to slow down our defense. But we got to see, and I think the Eagles' biggest problem is you have too many Chiefs, not enough Indians on that offensive side of the coaching staff.
And that's what we were getting into with the whole, is there a power struggle that's going on right now? He talked about how I don't know who their official coordinator is. I don't know who their official coordinator is. However, a play caller and a coordinator are two different things, right? You come up with plays.
I don't think they have one.
Oh, okay. And that might be what he was talking about. And that's trouble right there because, everyone can come up and design plays and everything, and you give these plays to the play caller. But if he's not, not everyone's like Shanahan. We're so like accustomed now to we'll see a play just not be successful, but he sticks with it. And then it builds up the confidence of the defense. Like, oh, they're in this formation again. We know what's coming. We're going to stop it. And then Shanahan from that same formation runs something that's completely different looking. Yeah. And that's how we take advantage of these things. It's no mistake that we only put up 16 points in the first half. And then the second half, here we come with, 25 plus because it should have been more, but, missed field goals and kicks and all that stuff. It's not a coincidence that we're a second half team. Like we get busy in the second half, Tony.
I think, in my opinion, I think Kyle is the best play caller / designer / schemer in the NFL. The problem
Really?
is
Better than Andy Reid?
They're not executing as well as Kyle Shanahan is at calling and scheming.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I think his offense is there, and you see it. You see it when it clicks. It's there. He's running, and we talked about this previously. Like I was going to ask him, but he jumped off. But he said he watched the Giant game. The first drive. If you look at that first drive, his play calling was to set up that 3rd and 22 gain by Trent Taylor on 3rd down, that 22-yard gain. Every play that led up to that play was designed purposely so Trent Taylor would have that deep crosser over the middle in the clear.
Mm-hmm.
So what did they do? They started with the jet sweep. They faked the motion jet sweep and they ran the ball. Then they came back and they did the jet sweep again and actually handed it off. Then they ran the ball again and they got the first down. And then they just they brought the ball down, articulating the ball down the field. And then all of a sudden, it was a 3rd down call. And because of all that bullshit that led up to that 3rd down call, guess what? The defense said, all right, they're going to start running it. They take their step up, and boom, there goes Trent Taylor right behind them.
And you know what else I think those jet sweeps did early, or even the motion, was we handed to Ayuk, and they were good gains, but they weren't like that touchdown play, right? And I think it's watching how the defense reacts back there. And it's like, all right, guys, instead of you hold on to this guy, now we're going to swing this guy. You know what I mean? We're gonna move this guard in motion and let him get to the second level. Just let this guy go. Let him go. Yeah. It's okay because we're not going to be there.
Because you're baiting him.
Exactly. And that's why Ayuk is able to just waltz into the end zone untouched, and it's a thing of beauty. I have a lot of respect for Andy Reid's play calling, but I'll be honest with you, man, this is something that I probably shouldn't say on the show, but I think that when the Chiefs fall behind, I mean, we saw it literally in every postseason game that they had. They were down by double digits in every single one of those games, even the Super Bowl, right? I think that Andy Reid benefits from having really good backyard football players on his team. I think that when the chips fall and he's trying to set up stuff and it's not working. I mean, we heard the mic'd up from the Super Bowl where they called the timeout. It was a huge 3rd down game, and Mahomes goes to the sideline like, "Hey, we have time to run this play." He's questioning if the offensive line can hold long enough for who was a Hill to get down the left sideline. That play
was 3rd and 15.
Yes, and Mahomes is the one who asked that question. That wasn't Andy Reid saying this is the play that we're going to run. That was Mahomes asking, and that's what I'm saying. I think Andy Reid benefits from guys being able to play really good backyard football. Do we have enough time to run? I forget what he called it, and they were like, "All right, let's try it." Like, we got nothing to lose at this point, and we saw that happen. And the Titans were up on them. I mean, every team was up on them by double digits, and then they just came back. The Texans, every team was like giving it to those guys, man. And even the Niners, we had them in such control, and then they go to the sideline and they let the players pick what they want to do. And I think that there's a talent involved in that also. It's trusting your players to feel out the opposing team. Hey, coach, like, what do you think about this play right now? We think it could work. And you have to trust your players. I don't know if we have that aspect of it here. I think our players blindly, which isn't a bad thing, I think our players blindly follow the lead from Kyle Shanahan. I really, really do. And go ahead.
That play you're talking about, okay, and it's not an excuse, but I don't like talking about the Super Bowl, but I said this. They made an adjustment on that play because they ran that play earlier in that game. Mm-hmm. Now, if my memory is correct, I believe they were on the 40-yard line. They were on their own 40-yard line. They were on the 35. He took the snap. He was standing on the 30-yard line because he was in the shotgun, and he dropped back all the way to the 25-yard line to throw that ball.
Yep. But do you know why he dropped back so much?
So think about that. Think about that. That gave Tyreek Hill that much time to create that separation in that window. And it gave Patrick Mahomes time. And let me tell you, I don't know if it was Bosa or Buckner. They like this, like that close. He almost got him, and that's just a statement by that defense. But If he didn't, they didn't make that adjustment and drop him back at least 15 yards.
Yep.
That play never gets off.
Exactly, because those guys would have got home. And I know about the holding and all that stuff, but we can't change any of that. But it's just to show that the players are having their input with the plays and how they're run. This is the play design, but if I do this, will it buy us a couple more seconds? Will it give us, with a guy that fast, you only need another half a second. You know what I'm saying? So it's NFL's a game of inches, man, and they gave him yards.
The biggest thing, going back to Andy Reid, where you were saying, Tony was saying that he thinks that Kyle Shanahan is the most basically genius type of play caller. And you were like, even over Andy Reid. I think Andy Reid also benefits from the speed that he has on the outside to where Patrick Mahomes can just throw it up. And that's what their offense is. Because you have to respect the speed. So you pull those guys out to where if Patrick Mahomes takes off, you have that room to run and move that offense. But I still agree with Tony that I think Kyle Shanahan, us as 49ers fans know this. Kyle Shanahan's play design, he has one play design that you can run 5 different plays out of. And what he does, and this is why the Niners don't score, as early as often, because of the fact that he's using those plays to build up other plays for the rest of the game. And, we talked about that. So you use guys like Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel with those end arounds where they're coming in motion and the play isn't going to them, but it's a fake to them, or it's a handoff to the running back. But then you run that same type of play where, like we did this week, where Brandon Ayuk scored the touchdown. You fake the handoff to the running back this time and you give it to Ayuk, who is going around, but everybody else is doing the same thing. It's just who gets the ball is different. So they're running it exactly the same. And that's what the Niners do well, is they execute those plays to make them look exactly the same. And that's where Kyle Shanahan benefits by taking advantage of what the defense can do. So on against our offense. So look, I totally 100% agree with Tony on this part as to where, Kyle Shanahan, and I said this earlier on our show and on with RB, is that the reason that I'm confident in this game is because of A, our coaching, and B, our execution of our backup players and the way they execute. But mainly because the way this team is coached, right? They're coached for adversity. They're coached and taught all season long, whether they're playing or not playing, that the next man up mentality is very big with adversity. But I have a lot of confidence in Kyle Shanahan's scheming to keep the biggest part of their defense not as good as they should be by keeping them off balance. And I think that's where, if we can do that in this game, that it should be an easy win for the Niners, right? If they can't do that, that's where the game gets close and can go either way, and as well as turnovers and things like that benefit in the game. But if Kyle Shanahan can call plays to where the players execute to keep the Fletcher Coxes, the Brandon Grahams out. Look, I don't have faith in their linebacking core in coverage with George Kittles or even Ross Dwelly, right? I'd still be just as confident with Ross Dwelly because Ross Dwelly is, a good route runner. He's a great blocker, and he's getting better at yards after catch, right? We've seen that against the Giants. Where the Giants, I said this to you earlier, Mike, I believe in their linebackers more than I believe in Philadelphia's linebackers. Their guys are no slouches when it comes to the linebacking core in New York compared to what they have in Philadelphia. So that's where I think the game comes, is that sideline to sideline with our running game.
Here's my biggest concern. My biggest concern is going to be one of our biggest strengths from last week, and it's third down conversions. I don't remember the exact percentage. I feel like it was like 75% conversion on third down last week. I don't know if that's the case. What my biggest concern is going to be George Kittle being back in the mix and being that security blanket, and the mismatch with those linebackers. I feel like it's going to be some third downs that go to him, and that's going to be the play. It's not going to be an option or whatever, because when you didn't have George Kittle, you didn't have Deebo Samuel out there. You don't have you had Jet for a while out there, right? But when you lose those guys, it was like, all right, now the defense doesn't know who to cue on, right? But with George Kittle coming back, with Deebo coming back, all of a sudden it's like, all right, these are their guys. These are the guys that are going to go to in crunch time. And I think that we're going to just take a step back in the third down conversions. And those are the plays that end up tiring out your defense if they're not successful, so on and so forth. And so I just think that it's going to be a little bit of a swing in this game because of the predictability aspect of it. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, but I think that we could take a step back in that aspect. Do you guys disagree with what I'm saying? Or do you at least understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, but I actually think because of Debo and Kittle coming back,
it benefits.
I think it's going to screw that defense up even more because now you have to make a decision. It's pick your poison. Who are we going to take out and who are we going to try to just go with?
But what if now it's a predetermined? So, and Shanahan can call a play and say, all right, this guy and this guy should be open, or, the plays are designed for people to get open. I won't say this guy and this guy can be open, but now we saw in that Saints game, right? And it just happened to work out in that fourth down play. But I don't know if you guys remember that final drive against the Saints. Yeah. We went to George Kittle like 2 or 3 times and that drive alone. And the first couple of times it wasn't successful. And then we still did it again on fourth down. George just went like beast on him.
But the play that they got to him, the play on that fourth down, it was a design play, correct? But literally the ball traveled, 3 yards in the air? So it was a high percentage pass, and they basically said, George,
beat your guy.
First down.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. And it was a predetermined play. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so, in a situation like that, yes. But right, I think if it's a regular game situation, first, second down, I don't think it's going to come to that. I think Philly's going to have to make a decision who they want to take. And then now, don't forget, we have Ayuk, and then we have Debo, who both could run that jet sweep. So now you're going to see one guy go motion, then you could see potentially the other guy go into motion and totally flop sides and switch the formation. And now you got the defense shifting, Justin looking. And the minute, and I'm telling you from experience because I played, the minute you go from your toes and you go to your heels, you're done.
Yeah. Yeah, and I want to ask this question now because we didn't get to do Nick's over-unders last week because he was on the road and the reception and all that. So I want to ask this now to you guys. Give me the over-under on 2.5, right? How many times do you see Debo on one side, Ayuk on the other, and both of them switch sides at not necessarily at the same time, but on the same play? How many times? Give me the over/under on 2.5.
What do you got? Over. I really do.
I'm gonna go with the under. I'm going to go with the under. And the only reason I'm going to go with the under is because I really do think they're going to ease Debo back into this game. And because that's a lot of running also and things like that. So I don't know how much they're really going to utilize him. Because even Kyle Shanahan said today, he may not be the starter. He'll get some reps. I don't want to say he's on a
pitch count.
He said, I don't want to say he's on a pitch count, but I'm also going to ease him back in because he was our starter last year. He earned that right, but he hasn't been on the football field since the Super Bowl. So how much are they really going to utilize him? Now, they may utilize him in disguise things.
Right.
I think it's going to be right off the bat.
Right.
That's the question, Nick, is I want to make sure you understand. I'm talking about pre-snap motion. That's the question. How many times do you see both of those guys switch sides and pre-snap motion? So, yeah, it's a lot of running, but if the play's not going to go to him, it's just to disguise it. So we could see it more because it's safer for Debo to be used as a decoy than maybe actually giving him the ball and having to take on all the running and the physical toll of being tackled and carrying the ball.
I'm going to still go with the under, but I'll think, as disguise-wise, I'll probably go maybe 2 times. So I'll go under, but just under 2.5. I think they do use him as a decoy type of thing in a disguise with pre-snap motions. So I'll go with under. I'll say 2 though.
And I'm going to tell you, I think, in my opinion, what you're going to see at least once this game, you're going to see a scenario where Debo crosses the formation, and he's going to sit, and at the snap, he's going to do take that one step forward and then come back like it's a screen. And the defense is going to fly up, and someone's going to go right behind him. I'm telling you, they're going to use this guy as a decoy because the Philadelphia knows what he has the potential, what he does. They try to get the ball in his hands and let him do his thing. Once the ball is in his hands, he's dangerous. Yeah. So I think Kyle's going to trot him out there, have him fly across the formation. They're going to do a play action. Nick is going to pump the ball out, and then someone's going to go right behind him.
Talking about that, because there was something that I took from the Nick Mullins presser today. And it was something that he said he could get better at, and the little things of the game. And he was saying basically ball fakes, right? Carrying out fakes and also pump fakes. So, basically ball pumps, he was saying. It's going to be interesting to see how many like pump fake type things he does this week. And, I want to ask you this question. So over or unders on how many times the receiver, the 49ers line up and who, so we're going to go play action, right? So one running back, we'll go. So what do we got? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. So 4-man set. So I'm going to go 2 receivers, 2 tight ends,
22.
and 1 running back in the back. Right?
21 personnel.
21 personnel. Yeah, 21 personnel. But I wanted to make sure I was saying it right. So how many times do you think the Niners come out? So I'm going to go 2 tight end set, but I'm going to go with instead it's going to be I'm going to use Kyle Juszczyk as a guy, though. So Kyle Juszczyk and George Kittle on the field, right? So Juszczyk lined up out wide, Ayuk on one side, Samuel on the other, and then Kittle as the other guy. And then 1 running back set. How many times
so you're going 21 personnel, but shifting Juszczyk out into a tight end spot?
Correct.
So it's 21 personnel. You're going to see that a lot.
Still 21 personnel. Now here's my theory. Who's covering who there?
Well, it depends how they align. If he's stacked off, if he's flanked off Kittle to the right, where it's like, it'll be the X, the Y, the F, the tailback, and the Z. It's going to be considered trips right. So it would depend on what defense they're in. If they're in a base, if they're in a nickel, a big dime, a big nickel, you don't know what they're covering. But if they're going to be in a base, you would have the outside linebacker. It depends if they're man in zone. If they're in the zone front, you're going to have the outside linebacker probably shifted over towards Kittle's side. And then whether he has hook to flat or curl to flat or flat to hook, it depends on the call. I can't really say, but it's probably going to be the outside, the middle, and if they're too deep or if they're single high, it'll be one of the safeties.
It was funny because Ryan B said something earlier that kind of caught me and on his show, and you guys didn't catch that, but he was talking, and I think he said it on ours as well, but he was talking about how their defensive coordinator gets soft and he starts to play basically a sticks defense, right? So basically off, gives the guys about 7 or 8 yards. How much do you think we see that against Kyle Shanahan this week? And do you think we benefit if they're playing that zone type sticks defense, as in playing off the receivers by 6 or 7 yards?
I think if they do that, Kyle's going to run the ball right down their throat.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's going to be multiple looks. It's going to be inside, outside zone. It's going to be power. It's going to be – I think they come out 21 personnel the whole game. I formation, shift out of the eye, and that's how I do it. And I think and we said this numerous amounts of times on this show, I think Kyle's is at his best, his most lethal when he forces that defense to stay in the base.
Yep. Wait. I'm sorry. You think the Niners come out in 21 personnel all game?
Majority of it. I think if we come out in 21 personnel, 2 backs, 1 tight end, you could shift Juszczyk out of the backfield and try to go like a trips right or whatever way you want to look at it, and keep them in their base. Not all game, majority of the game. I think Kyle could pick that defense apart. I think he could scheme out of that 21 personnel to get somebody open from the hash, between hash to hash, from 5 to 10 yards deep. I think that's it. That's his, and you know how he is. He's going to find the weakest link on that weakest link on that defense, and he's going to go after him. And he's going to say, "Okay, I'm testing you. Can you handle it?"
So basically, what he's saying is, Nick, you don't want your boy to get his first playing time against us this week. And Bradley.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I don't even know who the linebackers are for the Eagles.
Yeah, well, that's what he was saying. They're just not. They can't. He said he's so worried about what Kittle's going to do these linebackers because
They're young guys.
yeah, they're young guys. Yeah,
Oh, forget it. Now you're talking about inexperience.
yeah.
Right. And I think the personnel that Nick was talking about earlier with his question was 12 personnel, 1 running back, 2 tight ends, and 2 wide receivers, right?
Well, I said I'm going to use Juice as the other outside guy.
So that
okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay,
21, and he would
so
shift
21. Yeah, with a motion out. So 2 on one end, 2 on the other. Kittle and Debo on one side, Ayuk and Juice on the other, and then a motion out though. So it'd be 2-1 with a motion out with Juice, and then run the football or play action to these quick slants. Tony, you said something that just reminded me of something. You are the weakest link. Do you guys remember that show? Do you guys remember that show?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's funny. Because you were like, we're gonna tear apart the weakest link, and I was gonna be like, you are the weakest link.
He does it all the time, though.
Yeah, he does.
He does it week by week. He finds the one person, and that's his target. He did it week 1. He went after the number 9 overall pick in the draft, Mr. Cover.
And you know what's weird about that? Well, not weird, but that's something that Robert Saleh does also. People don't talk about it enough. Robert Saleh, Bill Belichick gets a lot of credit for they're going to take away your best threat, right? Everyone was talking about Waller going against the Patriots and all that stuff. That with the tight end that the Raiders have, right? And I have him a fan. I benched him. I was like, there's no way he has a good game. One, he's coming off of injury.
Great game.
Yeah, no, but not against the Patriots. He didn't. That's what I'm saying. He had a phenomenal game the week before, right? And then I think I'm about to get attacked by my dog. It's me. It's me, Niner. Relax. I heard her open the door and he didn't know I was out here. Good boy. All right, get down. Come on, no, move. Get down. Move. So like when someone goes off like that, Belichick is like, yeah, not happening against me. You got to beat me another way. I think Robert Saleh does a really good job of that for the most part. I mean, you look at the Falcons game last year, that wasn't really the case, right? Like Julio just went crazy on us, right? But if you look at other games around the league, you think about teams' best players, they don't really get off on us like that. And I think Robert Saleh deserves a lot of credit. The way Shanahan attacks a weak link, I think Robert Saleh does a solid job at attacking an offense's strength and trying to make them, force them to find another way to beat them. So,
well, you can go back. You can go back to the Saints game, how we shut down Alvin Kamara, and
exactly.
we made that an emphasis to shut down Alvin Kamara and turn Drew Brees to one-dimensional. And obviously, he beat us over the top a couple of times and things like that. But in the end, you look at Alvin Kamara's stats, and he was pretty much non-existent that entire game. So, you're right. It's gonna be interesting, man. But look, I want to ask you guys right now, who do you think needs to have a big game? One specific player. Let's just go one specific player in order to win this football game. And
offensively or defensively?
Both. Give me one for each.
All right, I'll go last. You guys can go. Or, well, Tony, you can go first.
On offense, I'm going to go Tomlinson.
Left side, huh?
I think he's going to be up against Cox. I think, if I'm right.
Oh, wait, let me just say this really quick. While you're thinking, I disagree with what Philly Mike was saying about Cox not being a good pass rusher. I think Cox is a phenomenal pass rusher. Am I alone in that?
No.
No,
I kind of kept quiet when he said that. I was just like,
I think he's probably one of the best pass rushers on their team.
Yeah, I was listening to him and I was like, wait, really? But I shut up. And Nick, you countered with a different question, so I let it go. It passed.
My fault.
No. It's all good. I just didn't. I don't like cutting people off too much. I try not to, but go ahead, Tony. Let me let you finish though. So you said Tomlinson on the offensive side of the ball.
It's wherever Cox is. I'm 90% sure it's going to be on Tomlinson's side, but defense, I'm going to go to whoever the defensive end is on Jason Peters.
Jason Peters has been playing
He's
rough.
out. Is he playing this game? He is, right?
He's questionable.
He's questionable
Oof.
because I watched a couple highlights on him versus Cincinnati, and it was Carl Lawson, and
Destroyed him.
he turned him around. Like he legit spun him around.
Yeah.
So I think whoever the defensive end is on that side, whether it's Hyder, whether it's Armstead, whether it's Ansa, whoever, Deion Jordan,
Hyder.
I think they have to take that matchup there. And I honestly, I like our guys against him. And I'm not saying Peters is not a good tackle. He was a good tackle. The guy's 38 years old. All right. So I like our defensive end versus him in that matchup. That's why I think it's got to be – they got to come on fire on that end and constantly get in that backfield. But I'm going to say this, and I said it before in front of him. Oh, no, I didn't say he was unsure. I said it to you, Mike, because Nick stepped away. They are going to run an RPO at least twice in this game to try to slow them down.
Yeah, I like your picks because they weren't I like your picks because they were not skill positions. I think that's really dope. I think I'm gonna go with hold on, Daddy's almost done the show, I promise. It's all right. I think that I'm gonna go with I'm gonna start with the defensive side of the ball. I think this is a really good question. Who has to have a good game? Who has to have a good game for us to win on the defensive side of the ball? That's a tough question because there's so many new names out there, right? I'm gonna go with Dante Johnson. I think that in the passing game, for receivers in particular, Dante Johnson is going to have to be the guy that steps up. I think Verrett is going to be Verrett. He's going to, give up a couple, but Johnson can't be a liability. So I'm going to go with Johnson on the defensive side of the ball. And on the offensive side of the ball, I am going to go with Nick Mullins. I think he's going to have to get the ball out quickly, and he's going to have to be successful that way. That's going to be it. Is Nick back yet?
Yeah, he's there.
I've been
All
back.
right. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he said you stepped away. I'm sorry.
No, he
Put
was
me
saying
on-
I'm going to say this because when Nick stepped away, I said this.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Put me on mute, though, because my family's out here. So
You took my answer there in Dante Johnson. So that's what I was going to say because he's going to have to perform because I think they try to test him more than they do Jason Verrett this week. I know Jason Verrett is coming off an injury and there's not much tape on him, but Jason Verrett still has a name in the league and tape last week. And Dante Johnson is one of those guys. But I'll go a different route there. And I'm going to go offensively. This is going to be crazy. But Jerick McKinnon's coming back from a rib injury, right? And I'm not going to go with Jerick McKinnon, but I'm going to go with Jeff Wilson Jr. And the reason that I say that I think he needs to have a big game is because how healthy is Jerick McKinnon? How many snaps is Jeff Wilson Jr. going to get, right? You said Nick Mullins. I'm going to kind of keep this differently than everybody else's thought process. So I'm going to go with Jeff Wilson Jr. and I'm saying Jeff Wilson Jr. because of the fact that, he's our third guy. And this run game, we're going to have to get a run game going at some point to feed our play action type offense. So I'm going to go with Jeff Wilson Jr. on that side, on the offensive side. I'm hoping to see more JaMychal Hasty this weekend. But then you're making him susceptible to, waivers as well next week if you don't bring him up to the 53. So I'll stay with him on the offensive side, though. And then I'm going to go with defensively. I'm going to go with K'Wan Williams. Obviously, he's questionable, but if he does play, I'm going to see how good he is right now with that hip injury, his movement. We saw that he struggles against speedy guys. And the Eagles offense likes to use their slot guys in a lot of times. And how well will K'Wan Williams be able to guard them guys coming off a hip injury if he plays? I'm going to go with – look, I know they're injured down there in the wide receiver position, but look, you can put a Miles Sanders out in the slot, right? And K'Wan Williams is going to have to cover him. So, shifty guy, small. What is he? 5'9". He can catch the football. He's a good route runner. So I'm going to go with K'Wan Williams on the defensive side. So I got to unmute Mike here.
Yeah.
Hi, girls.
All right. Yeah. No, I mean, Nick's saying hi, girls.
Hi.
Come say hi.
Hi.
Hi, baby.
One of you can sing this. There you go. You're all saying hi.
Ugh.
We're ready to make some s'mores over here, man. It's our Friday night. We're about to get busy we're gonna light up the fire pit, start making some s'mores, man.
Awesome.
So you guys know it's going down.
Awesome.
It's 10 something in the morning.
It's not morning.
It's
night.
10:10. It's 10:10 at night, silly.
You see the moon?
I can't see the time from out here. It's
This is another thing I have for you guys, right? If Jason Verrett comes out and has another good game, and we know that they're depleted offensively with receivers, right? Is this another statement game for Jason Verrett to have? I don't want to say a statement game. I don't want to say a statement game, but we know Richard Sherman is supposed to come back next week healthy. Will another good game by Jason Verrett, even if Emmanuel Mosley is healthy or Akello Witherspoon is healthy, does this keep him in that starting lineup as that second corner? Is this one of those times where injury causes a player to take over for a different player and just continues to ride it out? Tony, what do you think?
I think it could. I really do. If he continues on the hot streak, I mean, watching the game again, he looked pretty damn good.
Like these up.
I'm not gonna lie. Not only in coverage, but in run support, like the run game, he looked pretty damn good. He has that swag back. He was jumping all over the field. You heard him when he stopped that screen with Tate. He screaming and yelling, flexing. I like that. I really do. So it's going to be interesting. We don't know what the hell's going on with Sherman. A calf doesn't take more than 3 or 4 weeks to really heal. So the question is, what is it? What's the truth on it? So, I mean, listen, you could be looking at Verrett and Mosley as your starting corners, pending on Sherman going down the rest of the season. We don't know nothing. So you got to go day by day, week by week with this team as far as their injuries. So,
yeah. My opinion on that is, much like how I said whether Akello Witherspoon came out and had good games or not, I think people are still going to say, well, it was just this team. They don't have any of their top receivers here, so it's still it's going to be hard to say that this is a litmus test. Like I can't say that, if he comes out and has a really good game, well, who was he guarding? Like there's, you know what I'm saying? You're going up against a struggling Carson Wentz and no wide receivers. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be hard to sit here and say that this game is going to hold a lot of weight. I do think Verrett is capable, though, and I do think he's going to have a good game. I just don't think that he's going to get the props yet. Although I will say the fans were surprised, like they were, he's back, he's good, he's the guy. This is what we were expecting. So maybe he will get the respect from the fan base. But I think the people who, the Greg Cosell's and the people who do the analyzing and all that, like on a deeper level, are going to say, well, we got to see how he does against better and stiffer competition.
But this might just be the recipe of what he needs.
Yeah, no, this is definitely the games that bounce back. Absolutely.
He's building his confidence. Like, okay, he played versus the Giants. He played well. If he plays well this week, it's going to be another step in building his confidence. Then he's got Miami next week. If he plays well, he's going to build his confidence even more. And then, boom, now we hit our stretch. The Rams, whoever after that, I don't know. But it's good because it's getting his feet back under him, and it's a confidence builder. So it's what he needs. And as long as he stays healthy, I think he's going to be pretty good.
All right.
Yeah. So are we going to give score predictions? Because I know tomorrow's the fan show and then obviously game morning preview. So, Mike, I know you're a little worried about this game, man, but what are your thoughts? Do you think we pull it out or what?
Yeah, I think we get the win. I do think we get the win. As long as Nick Mullins can play well and get rid of the ball quickly, I do think they're going to bring more pressure than what he's seen in a while. And I know he hasn't played. I know he didn't play all last year, but I can't think of a game where he's going to go up against a defensive line that gets after the quarterbacks as much as what this Eagles team is capable of doing. So as long as Nick Mullins can get rid of the ball quickly or Shanahan can protect him, if the line shows up that they are going to be a liability in the first half and Shanahan can make the proper adjustments, then I do think that we bounce back and we'll be okay. So I trust our coaching staff. I trust them to make the right decisions. I think we walk away with the W. I just don't think people, if you're expecting another 36-9 blowout, or a 31-3 or whatever it was against the Jets, I think you should put that in the back of your mind. Walk away with the W. I don't care if it's 17-14. Just walk away with the W. I do think we can get the win this week.
Tony, your thoughts?
I agree. You pretty much touched everything. I agree with what you're saying. It's gonna. My opinion, though, I think it's gonna fall on Kyle this game because I think our starting five could potentially struggle against this pass rush. So Kyle's gonna have to come up with the answer and make his adjustments and start maybe getting them on their heels and let them think more. I think he has the advantage versus the linebackers because they're not experienced. And then, according to the guy that was just on, their top two, no, their number one corner's in, but their 2 and 3 is out, so it's 1 and 4. So he's going to be tested. I don't know the score. I don't do the scores, but I do think if all the ducks are aligned, I do think we come out with a W, and I do think it'll be an impressive W. But it all depends on the interior play, the starting play of our starting five, of our offensive line. If they step their game up and rise to the occasion and play to their level of competition,
Yeah, I definitely agree with you both. I think it's definitely going to come down to line play in the trenches. This game is going to come down to, as well as obviously turnover ratio and things like that. But look, I just think this team is coached too well to overcome adversity, and that's where I'm giving the nod to these guys. I said on Ryan's show that I think the Niners pull it out, but I think they pull it out 28-17. I think in the fourth quarter is where we take over the game. And the Eagles have just played football in the fourth quarter. I'm going to go 28-17. I think it does start up front in the trenches. Who establishes that run game? Whose quarterback plays a better game, obviously, and then obviously who turns the football over the last of it. So, that's pretty much all I got, guys, until tomorrow's show. And appreciate you guys coming on. Obviously, appreciate Philly Talk and Philly Take with RB. Go check out their channels, guys, here on YouTube. And much love to those guys for coming on. And I appreciate both of you guys, man.
Am I on mute?
No, you're good.
Okay. I do want to say for the people who watch the show regularly, we are going to do a little bit of a program change starting next week, not this week, but tomorrow. Make sure you guys are ready. We're going to do a fan interaction, give you guys the opportunity, give you guys an opportunity to chime in on what you think and how you think this game is going to go. So make sure you guys are ready for that. Have your notifications set. I don't think we've decided on a time yet, but we will get one for you guys. And I'm looking forward to it, man. That's all I got.
Tony, any final thoughts?
I'm ready for the game, man. That's it.
Yeah, me too. Sunday night game, man, in our neck of the woods. A lot of our friends are not Eagles fans, so this game's riding. I got a big bet. I don't know if you've seen that bet, Tony, but if the Niners lose, I got to wear an Eagles jersey on the show. If the Eagles win, I got to wear. If the Eagles win, I got to wear an Eagles jersey. If the Niners lose or Niners win, he has to wear a Niners jersey on his show. So obviously I got a lot of friends that are Eagles fans, so I'm pulling for this W even more so, just because it's a hometown team and a lot of my friends are Eagles fans and been talking shit since last year and since the year that they destroyed us. Obviously with all the injuries where most of those guys aren't even on this team anymore, but we should see, man. It'll be interesting. Mike, you have a good night with the kids and roast me up a s'more, man, because ain't nothing better but some Reese's and some chocolate and some marshmallows. And Tony, I hope you and your family have a good night, man. And let's get out of here.
Yeah, man, that's gonna do it for us, man. I can't wait. All right, guys, let's go home. Prepare for glory.
Anticipate pain,
but always remain faithful.
We out of here. Peace.